Starting webinar. Hello, hello, hello. Happy New Year. Yay. It is our first webinar of the new year 2024, and we are super excited to be back with you guys. We hope you had a fantastic or fantabulous holiday season and that you are looking forward to an amazing new year. As you are coming in, please take a moment and just drop in the chat and tell us where you're joining us from. Wherever it is, just let us know. Hi, joining you from so and so and so and so, joining you from outer space, joining you from California, Pennsylvania, wherever it is. We love to know where you're joining us from. I'm like, do I see any? Okay, I was like, I don't see anybody. All right, okay. Hey, Camille. Hello, hello. Look at all these people coming back. Yay. I see a lot of familiar names and a lot of new people. Hello and welcome. Super excited you're here to join us today. So as you guys know, or some of you guys may not know, but this is our Enhancing and Empowering Conversations for Positive Change webinar where we are using this space to showcase and to showcase the work of our partners. So this webinar is in addition to, is a promo for an upcoming workshop. We're super excited you're here to join us. We hope that you'll take notes and let's keep moving. Lori, next. So you guys know the ways that we engage here at Be Strong Families for these webinars. When you're ready to speak, please raise your hand. We'll ask you to unmute yourself. It means we've opened your mics. When you're sharing, please feel free to make sure that you're putting it in the chat and that it's going to everyone. If you don't make sure that's going to everyone, it is going to just go to the speakers, okay? And we'll be the only ones to see it. Please be patient with us. We know that you guys are excited to be here. We know you're going to be blowing up the chat, and we want to make sure that we get everybody. So please be patient with us. Thank you, Lori. You know that we have agreements for all that we do. It's our way of encouraging you to be brave in the space. It's the way of trying to make the space emotionally safe, although we can't make it, safe looks different for everybody, right? But we want to definitely encourage you to be brave in this space and do it in this way. Speak from your own experiences and use I statements as you're sharing. Follow the golden rule, treat people like you want to be treated. That means not telling people what to do and not judging people, not giving advice, all that great stuff. And be fully present. You join us for your lunch. We're excited to have you here for your lunch. Get all of this. If you're fully present, you're not working during this time, answering your emails or playing Candy Crush, you are going to be able to embrace all of this greatness that's coming your way, okay? So please don't multitasking. And if you need a minute, take a minute. Jump off, come back. We'll be here. We'll be here at least until 1. I wish I could be here always. We'll be here at least until 1, okay? So do what you need to do. If you agree, go ahead and type agree in the chat. Once I feel like we've got everybody, then we can move forward. Fantastic. Guys, look at the people who've been here a long time, our family and friends. They're already agreeing. I love this group. You guys rock. Fantastic. Thank you, Debbie. Appreciate it. I know that we've got a lot of great info. Our presenters have a lot of great information to share today. And so get ready, get ready, get ready. Next, Lori. So today, this is not the correct one, right? That is not the correct slide. And we all just looked at that slide. Is this a slide? This is not the slide, right? The name of the slide. Okay, amen for Jesus. We missed that one. Well, today, and we all looked at it. Today, the Zoom stuff got us all off. Not being able to get into Zoom got us all off. Okay, so today we have our presenters from the DEIcipher Group, Yoli, Maya, Yay, and Ruthann Gagnon. And so they are going to be presenting today for us, and I'll let them share the proper title for their webinar. Let's welcome these two wonderful speakers or presenters and get ready to enjoy your webinar. Thanks, guys. Apologize, ladies.
No problem. I think the imperfections is what makes it all fun. So friends, thank you so much for joining live and also shouting out to you if you're going to watch this as a recording later on. My name is Yoli Maya Ye. My pronouns are she, her. This is not my first webinar with Be Strong Families. I would have to count. I might even be in double digits by now. We've had a lot of fun in challenging times together, and that's what we do. Right? We're here to share a pretty helpful resources with you today, our vision of what DEI could look like. We're all about solving the equity puzzle, and that's our cipher. You know, a cipher is also when we just get together and we talk and we rhyme and, you know, a little bit of battle. And so we're going to have a cipher with y'all. And the first thing that we want to do in this cipher is just like get our head in the game, get present with each other. So I'm going to have you go to the next slide, please. And I would like to invite you into a returning to the land of this body. So whatever you're doing right now, we made our agreements. Let's really honor each other's commitment in this moment as we come into a pause. Land acknowledgement is a practice of naming those who have inhabited the land where your bones are right now, acknowledging that there are ancestors of land, that there are people who have walked here before you, and we have inherited their wisdom and knowledge. Whether our actual ancestry is from this land or not, we are taking a moment to have a ritual remembrance that we are of the land. So we want all of you to arrive, you know, your auras like spread out all over the place. We want to acknowledge the multidimensional nature of being in this moment. And so I'm inviting you into a pause, a breath. Everything here is take what you want and leave the rest. And so in this moment, if my language around ancestors or ancestors of land isn't settling with you, leave it and just be with your breath. So I'm inviting you into a position where you can access your breath. You might be seated right now and you may sit up a little taller. You may collapse down a little bit. I didn't say sit up straight. I said, find a position right now that will allow you to best access your breath. Maybe there's a little chaise lounge right next to you and you're just going to jump on that for a second, lay on your back, or I don't know, maybe your bed is right there and you're going to lay down. Follow that intuitive spark. And whenever you get there, if it's comfortable, go ahead and close your eyes. Allow your power of observation to rest on the in and out flow of breath. Where are you breathing right now? In fact, one of my favorite check-ins is, how are you breathing? Is the breath open? Is the breath tight? Is the breath flowing? Are there some spaces where you can access the breath and others it's not flowing as much? We're not here to judge or evaluate. Oh, my breath is so bad. No, just breathing. There are spaces where the breath is flowing. There are spaces where the breath is not flowing. Both of those things are okay. With each of your inhales, let the breath go a little lower. Maybe we started at the chest and now we're at the heart space or the diaphragm, stomach region, a little lower towards the navel. Let each inhale descend towards the base of the pelvic bowl. You may find a nice, soft, open chamber in the pelvic bowl. It may also be tight and constrictive. I'd like you to know that any way it's presenting is okay. Head all the way down to the base of the pelvic bowl, the earth of this body, and now reach below, reach down through the base of the spine into the earth below, go down the legs, past the feet into the earth below. Feel how you are breathing and connecting. Your bones are resting. The earth of this body and the earth that is below you connected through the vitality of your breath. And in this moment of connection and interplay, we acknowledge the ancestors of land. I am resting on the land of the Yakama peoples, Kittitas peoples. Here, the ancestors of salmon and elk and the great mycelial network. Bring your awareness to the land where you are, naming, if you can, the ancestors of land, or we can say the ancestors of land, known and unknown. And then come back into your own body. And if you feel it, you could even acknowledge your ancestors, known and unknown. We could invite everybody into the party, into the learning, and see how we are enhanced. Open your eyes, look at the space around you, feel your body. If you happen to have a feelings word or two, pop it into the chat. What does it feel like to connect? What does it feel like to invite in a consciousness larger than your individual one? And we start our movement from there. We start our learning together. We are now linked together. In fact, all our ancestors currently are partying together. And so with that inspiration, I'll ask for the next slide and hand it over to my co-pilot, Ruthann Gagnon.
Thank you so much, Yoli. Hi, folks. I am Ruthann Gagnon. I am the other half of DEIcipher Group, and it is actually my first BSF webinar versus Yoli that is in double digits at this point. I'm so grateful to be here. Some of my background comes mainly through a lot of creative solutions. And when Yoli and I, with an intersection of also diversity, equity, inclusion, particularly in the public health space back in like the early 2000s, we were kind of rolling through a lot of like the whys, and that was the experience that we were having in that public health space, moving into some of these hows as things were coming along. And, when Yoli and I started to really dream into how we wanted to collaborate together, we really came into this, shared a lot of our personal lived experiences around some of the past DEI initiatives and some of the ways that they were framed, and also really trying to dream into the possibilities of the future and how we can take this new kind of creative, embodied approach to DEI design and initiatives. And that's really where DEIcipher lands. It's at the intersection of DEI and the wellness space. Some of you, and we'll give you some opportunities in a bit to talk more about your own experiences, but one of the most common responses that we get in our workshops or experiences that folks share is around this very kind of intellectual, very heady approach to DEI initiatives in the workplace, especially. And that can lead into a lot of things staying really from this like neck up. And want to thank Yoli so much for her beautiful land acknowledgments and meditations that she, as a consistent reminder for why we want to ground into our bodies and incorporate all of our body into dreaming into what DEI initiatives can look like in a truly more inclusive way and a more sustainable, collaborative, creatively healing way. So that's a little bit of our background and kind of where we really wanted to dream into, and are excited to share more with you. Yoli, did you want to introduce yourself any further as well? I would love gave a little
right.
background.
My background is richly in wellness and education. I teach comparative religions and ethics and global studies. I'm a longtime healer and body worker, and I've fell into the DEI space about a decade ago, from my background at this intersection of frameworks and wellness practice. So my interest is the science of transformation. How do we create change? What are the necessary ingredients for transforming on individual, partnered, family, community? And yeah, I'm here for revolution. I'm also here for collective liberation. So I want to work, and what we want to inspire in our work at DEIcipher is to root in the language of nature. Nature has solutions. Nature is efficient. Nature is wise. We are disconnected. And what happens if we can get connected? What could we do in that space together? I'll take the next slide, if you will. So let's pause for a second and map where we are in the moment, right? I think in one end, we need to admit that it's not enough to simply change policies, right? We work in organizations, for-profit, nonprofit, community organizing, and some of organizations have been coming from really well-intentioned spaces, wanting to do good and be well-meaninged. And so we should, update policies around DEI, right? And so if we change the rules, then culture's going to shift and automatically things will be more inclusive, and we're going to have that better pay scales and more equity. But well, I don't know what's been happening for you all. There are beautiful exceptions. There are companies that we've talked to and organizations we've talked to that have been able to figure out a way to approach DEI transformation, diversity, equity, inclusion, these factors of interplay and interbeing. They've been able to move the needle. And as case studies go, there's very curious reasons why those have worked, but that's got to be a different workshop. Okay, we're still talking about the issue right now. Okay, that's 1. 2, have you also noticed that 3 little letters DEI are under attack? If you even post on Instagram these days with DEI in either the body of your post or in the image that you're posting, you are immediately sidelined. You're light shadow banned, right? May I know what is so threatening about the call-in for diversity, equity, and inclusion? Yeah, it's called power. And the people who hold the power, they're still not ready to relinquish it, right? And so have you noticed DEI is under attack in the media? Have you noticed I hope you have noticed that DEI is under attack in legal and judicial settings, right? Yeah, thank you, Allison. It's a big yes right now. That doesn't mean that we stop using DEI as a term. That doesn't mean that we back away from the table. It means we gotta figure out some newer and even more innovative ways that incorporate human beingness. I want to call in, humans are basically good. Now, we've had a religion or two come along that have convinced us otherwise. That might also be a different webinar. But I want to name that if we want to redesign the table that we're coming back to, if we want to get folks beyond the obstacles, the resistance, and getting back into systems where we are able to speak to accountability, ethics, then we're going to have to get a little creative. We will also have to lean in to the goodness that lives within, and that's hard when you have experienced harm. So we're acknowledging, go ahead to the next slide, please. We are acknowledging that, one slide back. Skid, there we go. We are acknowledging that DEI initiatives are under attack right now. That attack is coordinated. That attack is funded. And I got to be honest with you, they don't waver. They're not over in the sidelines fighting about who's the wokest. They are fixed to the goal of dismantling policies creating precedences, legal precedents that can then be referenced in later legal action. And so if that's the other team, then I'm just saying, y'all, we got to get it together. Like, it's time for DEI reset. We need some fresh tools, fresh outlook. This is an article that we wrote in reference to recent precedences and dismantling of DEI initiatives in higher education. You'll be getting these slides after this presentation. Have a look at that. Send us some comments. Let us know what you think. But we think that there's a way through. And you can go on to the next slide.
And with that all in mind, one of the core values and such like the core pillars of how we want to operate at DEIcipher Group is gathering experiences in this kind of creative collaboration. And with that, we want to hear from you all. You can throw items in the chat here. As we were mentioning, there have been some beautiful exceptions to DEI approaches that have been really sustainable, really beautifully inclusive. We want to hear all of it. What kind of experiences have you had? How did they make you feel? And what would it look like? What would we want them to feel like in the future? You can take any of these questions, one of these questions, all of, two of them. But yeah, what kind of experiences have you had? And coming back again to this, this tendency, this temptation to kind of intellectualize, also like, how did it make you feel in your body? What was it like at that table? What made you want to come to the table initially? What maybe made you feel less than excited to return to the table? Yoli and I talk so much about wanting to use these domains and these approaches that we're so passionate about to really create this return to the table. What would you want to sit with? What would you want to dream into in the future for just a beautiful, transformative experience in DEI design? I'm going to have a look here through some of the chats already. Yeah, thank you. I think that's Anna. Forgive me, Ms. I think this is a she, her, Anastasia Rivas, about this being your first experience. Thank you so much for sharing that. But yeah, we'd love to hear your voices and perspectives on. Oh, yes. Sarah, yeah, thank you so much. The best of them feeling super inspired, to be able to walk away with like, wow, I'm empowered. I have something that I can bring back. I have something inside me that I can also share externally. The worst being like, oh man, the shame and blame. And I know Yoli and I have talked so much about the deep kinds of the shaming and the blaming, the finger pointing.
Yeah, thanks for naming embodiment, Caroline. Absolutely. What Dan was saying, when we're so over intellectualized with the DEI approach, we're never bringing it into the body. At best, we're just going to be talking about changing the rules. Where does transformation live? Yeah.
See, Ariel Jones saying, yeah, not having to question we're on the same team. Yeah, that there was, a sense of, almost sounds like some, what you made me just think of a little bit was feeling like a sense of belonging, a sense of some community and support around going against the grain, which, as we've been naming this, going DEI being so under attack really is going against the grain these days, even deeper experience. Let's see, Debbie, my experience in most of DEI trainings have not been great. Yeah. I've had some super deep, longer trainings. Yeah. Other solutions of allies.
Well, naming the 1 hour training.
Yeah.
What are we supposed to do in an hour?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, that kind of one and done approach versus something that feels truly integrated, and a regular return, to that kind of model. Absolutely.
Yeah, Ebony's naming a space for the human in the workplace. I think if we lean into humanizing as one of our inspirations, as one of the core values of this fresh DEI reset, we're going to be heading in the right direction. Humanizing, what does that mean? The multi-dimension of the human experience. And I think sometimes people question, well, why is this happening in the workplace? Because imagine or remember a place where you felt belonging. And then what happened? What was that team able to do? What was that collaboration able to dream into together? Just sort of putting some things out there.
Yeah. You know, Barb, I really appreciate your comment as well. You were naming perhaps there was a training for managers that maybe didn't like the preparation for it. Maybe it wasn't quite as strong and as well researched, or effort was not maybe put in. And yeah, like the result was some microaggressions, some not reading the room in a way that felt like that kind of experience was held. I also want to name too, I love hearing that there was disappointment in that experience, but also that some honest feedback was given. And we Yoli and I talk about this all the time of really thinking about this relationship to the perfectionism that can come up so much in these workshops, which is also part of why there is so much over intellectualization going on. There can be so much fear. And that failing forward and being able to say, man, we really got it wrong, but where can we consider repair being possible for the future? Having to hold hold all of that at the same time. So really appreciate that. Yeah, and thank you, Johanna. I wanted to echo Yoli saying what she mentioned too about humans are we are looking for the good. Humans do have a fundamental goodness here, and that is so much of why that humanizing is such a crucial part of the experience. The humanizing, and maybe for the folks who are coming back to the table, the rehumanizing. It can be so easy for us to kind of, again, that over intellectualization can really get us to kind of like, forget about the whole body of these other humans in the room or in these virtual spaces when we're talking about really important, but sometimes really intense, sensitive experiences.
I want to acknowledge the friends that spoke to this being their first DEI training. And I just want to say that's exciting. Like there's no wrong time to start. And whatever is the entry point to Ebony's vision of the flattening, we love the language of decentralized leadership, the circle, from the perspective of the circle, whether it's the dot in the center or the circumference on the outside, all have an equal view, an equal say, equal voice. And we can get into some sticky nuances when we want to bring DEI initiatives into organizations, and we run right up against the mountain, the unwavering mountain of hierarchical leadership. So there are many nuances we can name in what this looks like in the implementation end of things. And I also want to acknowledge those of you that have spoken to harm that you have experienced. We, in our research, have also found this phenomenon of the DEI training didn't bring everyone together. It sent everyone even farther apart. Every once in a while, even that could be healthy transformational movement. It's just most processes are, like Debbie named, a fixed period of time in the training space with not enough room for processing. Like that. Ruthann, are we ready to go to the next slide?
I think so.
Yeah, it kind of feels like we were there anyway.
Yeah, thank you all so much for sharing so much that, and for those who are just thinking and processing without sharing, we appreciate you too.
Yeah, let's acknowledge that processing time takes a second. So What's some of the key ingredient here? What do we want to get at about this new table? I don't think there's a table in this new table. I honestly think we're all on really comfy pillows, resting, and we've done away with the table, and the whole decentralization of it is we're resting comfortably on the earth. So we have a thesis, of our intersection of DEI and wellness, and I want us to explore a little bit, where does the intersection of DEI and wellness reside? How about in a workplace, in an organization? We've named this as part of the missing piece. And those of you that spoke to embodiment, that is the missing piece. If you want to heal, this is basic principles of healing. If you want to heal the body, the mind must be in the body. Well, part of our challenge is stress, trauma, drama, intergenerational trauma, the stressors of the colonization of your sleep, of your rest spaces, the constant drive for productivity. In order for you to be able to cope in that system of oppression, because it's very well organized, it's a system, you have to send your mind out of the body quite a bit of the time just to get through it all. And if you're like, yep, that's me, I want to commend you right now. You and your very wise body are working so hard to try to make it work, to try to take an impossible setting and thrive in it. So let's champion that for just a second. Remember that part where we have to be willing to let ourselves be good. If we're going to say humans are intrinsically good, then you also have to let yourself see the good that lives within you and the positivity that lives within you. That's not just some new agey thing. This is principles of healing. So we're opening the door of the possibility that your wise body is always trying to support you, always trying to help you. Can we help very wise body do that even better? Yes. And so we're sharing with you a little paradox called active rest. The way this nervous system, this brain works, we have external stimulus. If we have good quality sleep rest and other activities, so it's not inert, it's some sort of type of activity that allows our nervous systems to go into parasympathetic response. We go into rest and repair. Or my favorite way of describing it, stay and play. We're looking for connection, social interaction, connection to nature. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think we can derive connection even through the Zoom boxes and the YouTubes. It's possible, but human to human, human to nature, it is a little bit better. There's a little bit more of a biochemical response with that. And so sounds like we need more of those spaces. What is our body doing in that space? It's processing. Is it any wonder that we've been able to create computers? Sometimes we think of computers as doing, right? AI is here and we're embarking on a whole new thing, right? Computers are also storage vessels. And we make computers in our likeness in some ways, kind of scary to think about. But going off that sci-fi tangent and coming back to your very wise body and the goodness that lives within you, your body is a giant storage vessel, and it has fascinating mechanics of, if you have enough active rest points, it's more like capacity, like a battery, then your body can keep up with the processing. The events of your day, the funny interaction you had, this fight that you didn't very much like, the microaggressions you experience in the workplace, the thing you had to process with your kids, whatever it is. We could be able to keep up with the load, except we're living in an impossible design. There's no way you could keep up with just like a good old 8 hours of sleep, every night, a bowl of oatmeal in the morning, your body cannot keep up. So what does your body do? Within the nervous system, your body will put things into deep storage. Oh, well, where does deep storage live? In your right hip, in your pancreas, in your left knee. Yeah, it's very physical how the body does memory storage. Well, what about that intergenerational level? What about things that those weren't my actions, but I inherited them. Yes. Also, the body will find efficient places for storage. So sounds like what I'm naming is we've got a storage problem, and so a capacity issue, and we have a backlog. Now, all of that said, those of you that have been in DEI trainings before, have you ever been in a DEI training that acknowledged this dimension of your being? Yay. And then how did they address that? How did they get you engaged with body, right? So we're calling it active rest. Literal activities that get us into parasympathetic response, that allow for processing, or my favorite thing, quantum processing. Like, can I process with like math with exponents? How does that work? Well, these are domains: connection, movement, artistry, imagination, trance states, meditative states. Well, I always feel good when I go for my jog. I'm just saying this as an example. I am not a runner. And so, I go for this run. What would be the difference? Okay, for example, you're going on a run and you're talking on the phone or listening to a podcast. It's not very restful, actually. You're not gonna, it's input in. But now I'm going for that jog and I'm looking at the trees and I'm connecting to the natural world around me and I'm following my breath. Just on the other side of that is this nexus of active rest. Go ahead to the next slide, please. So, one more slide back. There we go. So, how about wellness in the workplace? Often one-off self-care workshops, all right, a little sprinkle. Yoga classes, on-site fitness, the chair massage person came in, oh, what a blessed day. 45-minute, 1-hour educational classes. Okay, some movement around economics, right? Your health savings account. So you've got some free possibility to now direct funds towards what would be helpful for you specifically. Off-site events. Ooh, now we're getting more interesting. Retreats. We've also seen a lot of competitive activities. So little competitions around whatever it is, meditation, weight loss, whatever's the criteria. So our curiosity then is, so what would it look like to reimagine with some of those feelings that we named a minute ago, but how we want DEI to feel? What would it be to reimagine wellness spaces in our organizations to be spaces for embodied DEI work? Maybe we're not going to get everybody back to the proverbial table by doing it the same way as we did the last time. Some of that worked, some of it didn't. Let's take that feedback and go into an imagining, a reimagining of what the intersection of DEI and wellness could look like. Let's move it beyond sprinkles of self-care and move it into the science of transformation. You can go to the next slide.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that in mind, what one of the things that we know to be so true is that coming back to this space of active rest. And I want to, I was thinking about the times that I've tried to actively rest when I have a podcast in and trying to walk and trying to do this and trying to do it all. So I really appreciate, that again, coming back to well-intentioned space, well-intentioned endeavors versus really looking at this, this active rest paradigm, and also what that can do for us individually and collectively around coming up with dreaming into these new creative solutions. We were just describing, we don't even know if it is a table anymore. Like, what does this look like to come to this forest, to this, coming back to the importance of nature? Are we coming back to a forest gathering together? What are we talking about? How are we still limiting ourselves in certain kinds of paradigms and frameworks? And how can we help collaboratively, creatively liberate one another to then create these even deeper solutions into building a new world? This is, again, Yoli, you mentioned earlier, of like, we do sometimes talk about this in terms of revolution. Revolution looks so many ways, and sometimes certainly others other than us have said, the active rest and rest in general is a form of revolution. We absolutely see that and take that concept and want to use it even further through this intersection of DEI and wellness. We see it as that, we were talking about decentralizing leadership, looking at where the kneading of the dough comes in. It's like, oh, this could be this center that, man, could expand us out into so many possibilities, so much of this beautiful new world of really deep humanizing individually and collectively. So yeah, wanna also, with that in mind, and in the spirit of what we value and operate, we would like to give everyone about 5 minutes right now for a processing pause. Maybe, oh yeah, maybe 3. We'll go with 3. Thank you, Yoli. 3 minutes. I got excited. Yeah, take a few minutes right now. You can write. You could type into the chat if you would like to. We'll give everybody time, but yeah. You can also do nothing. That would be delicious.
Gently inviting you back from that rest pause. I'll understand if that inspired discomfort.
Yeah.
Who uses their precious webinar hour to just sit in silence?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much for sitting with us. You took the words out of my mouth, Yoli. I was like, oh man, so many things can come up when we just pause, right?
And allow for all this information that we've thrown at you to just catch up a little in the brain. This
Woo!
expectation that we can drink from the fire hose. You know? So if you wouldn't mind going to the next slide, please. So we'd like to share with you our educational vision for 2024. And we've designed 3. Oh, it looks like that slide's missing a word or two, got a little truncated. Okay. So we've envisioned 3 workshops. They complement each other. They are also standalone in their design. And first up is solving the equity puzzle. We've been playing and tasting that today. We've identified 4 core domains that we work with: decolonization, restoration, creativity, and then messaging and integration. We love to stoke through creative processes, unlocking unlimited creativity in approaching our problem solving. And our thesis, as we're sharing it with you today, is there's been a missing piece, and it's that piece of embodiment. When we name wellness, we are talking also about a $6 trillion global industry that desperately needs its own DEI journey and whose wellness spaces need to be decolonized. Some of the tools themselves need to be decolonized, returned to the land from which they are from, rather than through the meat grinder of the colonialist, capitalist imagination. Solving the equity puzzle names some of this story and gets us into one interactive activity after another, just as we've tasted today, of training us in something that we just simply haven't learned, which is the science of rest. So we go in that workshop through our domains, through even more of this process of reflection, ending up in identifying key areas for growth and galvanized action steps forward. Ecology of belonging is the glue. What we want to do when we're imagining inclusive spaces is a sense of belonging. And it's not enough to simply add a B to your DEI acronym and then assume that you are actually cultivating the sticky honey glue that is the felt sense of belonging. So we take you into a deep dive of the language of nature, the inspiration of the nature of which we are a part, to see how belonging and interconnection show up in the natural world, and how our own organizations and projects and collaborations are living, breathing ecosystems. Lastly, there's a word missing: marketing metamorphosis. Right. Then there's the part about storytelling. Yesterday was MLK Day. We saw some skilled posts. We saw some not skilled posts. And I saw a lot of people being like preemptively calling people out. Like, just don't do it. Don't be that organization that's never assessed their biases and then post an MLK quote because it's MLK Day. Well, we want to name, look, we are living in an increasingly complex world. We seem to be moving towards concerning and dangerous outcomes. And at the same time, we're running organizations. We have product launches. We have newsletters we have to send. We have podcasts we have to record. Like, we live in a globalized, digitized world. How do we find the point of equipoise where we are accessing creativity and doing the world's most responsible storytelling in our marketing and messaging? And that's not just externally from organization to public. That is also the dimension of internal organizational communication. How is this messaging? It is not enough to put a lengthy holiday celebration list together and your DEI is making sure that everybody gets a shout out on their cultural holiday. Y'all, we could do better. Let's give that one a yes and, because I'm not going to lie, I love a good party. Like, I love celebrating everybody's everything, but that's not the answer to DEI. That's not the answer to representation. Okay? But that makes really great potlucks.
Yeah.
So you can go ahead to the next slide. So these three workshops are what we are offering. We are offering Solving the Equity Puzzle in March with Be Strong Families. Very exciting. And who knows, maybe we'll be offering the other workshops as well. But start with one and make one successful first. We want to give you resources for the journey here. And we're saying reconnection to nature is the key. We have a fun paper that we recently wrote, an article called The Umami of DEI. Where do we find the deliciousness? Or very simply, how might we make this palatable? But let's also consider we need to be nutrified and nourished. What is the umami? Where's that point of DEI? We have a wonderful podcast that you could listen to on active restoration, just hearing us talk more about that concept. And of course, we want you to come into our workshops. Like, we want to have more fun with you all. That's definitely there. Go ahead to the next slide, please. So just putting this workshop onto your radars, Wednesday, March 13th. It'll be from 10 to 2 Central Time. Just from my end here, it's a pleasure to share our ideas with you, and we would love to hear your feedback. You can take us to the next slide as well. Find us. We have a newsletter. Please sign up for our newsletter, follow our podcast, see what we're about. And it's a pleasure from my end to share our visions with you. We have a couple minutes and we'd like to know, do you all have any questions? Or just curiosities or a thought to share? The instructions for unmuting yourself were already put into the chat box. If you'd like to unmute, if you'd like to pop into the chat box, a thought, a quest, a very specific question for us. There might be time to talk about secrets of the universe, but not much. So make those kind of questions short and sweet. A takeaway, something that you're getting increasingly curious about. Ruthann, do you have any additions?
No, I too am just so grateful to be in this space with you all. We, in the spirit of our creative collaboration, we grow and learn every single time we get to be with all of you, in space like this. It is how we continue to decentralize our leadership, and really create this hub that of responsiveness to all the ideas. I love to always say that between the 45, however many people in this room who are with us right now, like we already have all the solutions and they live in this body, and like how exciting is that? So So yeah, just grateful to always be in this space. Grateful to have said now I've completed my first BSF webinar promo, and so grateful to have so many of y'all here with us. It's wonderful.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Self-reflection and relaxation sprinkled in between. There might be some umami.
Love it. Love it. Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ebony. So glad you came.
Ellie, thank you,
Mhm.
Joy. We hope we get to see you again. Yeah.
Yay,
Thank you,
thank you.
Allison. Thank you.
Yeah, also acknowledging it. Sometimes the questions form later. You can find us on our website. Like, hit us up.
Oh,
Find us on
please.
social
Yeah.
media. Like, we'll chat with you.
Yeah. We're fun. We're fun and funny.
We like to think so.
We think we are. Thank you. Thank you, Johanna. Thank you. Great to connect.
Ladies, if it's okay with you, I'd like to go ahead and share the slide where we have people leaving, and I want them to have an opportunity to sign up.
Please do.
Wonderful webinar. So I just want to thank both of you ladies so much for a fantastic webinar. Thank you for the opportunity to breathe a little bit and to relax in a webinar. That is a first for me, so I appreciate that. Guys, if you'd like to join them for the Solve the Equity Puzzle workshop, which will be from 10 to 2 on March 13th, 10 to 2 or 12 to 4?
Oh.
Use the link. Use the QR code and it'll take you right there, and you can register today for that webinar, okay, or for that workshop in March. This is the time to do it. It will fill up fast, so you want to hurry up and get in where you can fit in, okay, and you don't miss this opportunity. Thank you, ladies, again for a fantastic webinar. Next slide.
Yeah, thank you so much for hosting us. We are just so grateful. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. It's always a pleasure having Yoli here, and congrats on your first BSF completed webinar.
Thank you, Sarita. Appreciate you.
You're welcome. Guys, here is a list of our upcoming webinars. So be sure to check them out. Save them on your calendars. You don't miss one. Some great stuff coming up. Next, and you can use your QR code there to scan. Also, our upcoming Taste of Cafes, these are free. So feel free, offered to you at no charge, done by our national parent team or national team of parents. So please feel free to visit one, invite people to come. It is the best time that you will enjoy during your lunch break. So sign up today, and the QR code is there. You can just scan that. It'll take you right to it. Lori, what else we got? If you were looking for people, to speak at your different events or to do workshops for you, all those things, this is something we offer to our communities as our Speakers and Teachers Bureau. Everybody that has ever presented for Be Strong Families is on this page. So if you are feeling like, oh my gosh, where was that last person, right? Yoli's there. If you're thinking, where was the last person that was so great? Maybe it was Yoli, yay. Then pop in there and you have access to all our information and the way to contact the presenter of your choice. We're out of it after that, okay? It's between you and them. Next. And then check out our Living and Protective Factors Coloring and Activity book. It's awesome, guys. It's only $10. It is an amazing resource. It's so cute. It's so much fun. If you didn't get it for Christmas, you still have time. Birthdays are coming up. Valentine's Day is coming up. Make it happen. Use the QR code and scan, take you there. Next. And then the coloring book goes with the part of our Living and Protective Factor suite. So all of these things you see on the screen all work in conjunction with the coloring book. You can buy them as a suite or you can buy it separately. These things separately, they're all amazing for helping to keep your children safe and your family strong. Thank you for joining us. I'm so excited to see so many of you guys here on the first day back. Yay! And we just give it up again for our presenters. Thank you so much. Ladies, you guys were amazing as always, and we look forward to a wonderfully prosperous workshop. All right. Thanks, guys. Enjoy your day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Thanks, Lori and Tammy.